Hello, I'm Hal Brown from Lloyd's List at the Informa LNG conference in London. I'm with Andrew Morris from Poyry Management Consulting. Andrew, we've heard lots today about the demand changes in Asia, with Japan and its nuclear program and Southeast Asian import demand for LNG. How do you see that developing over the next few years?
Yeah, as was seen today, there's a lot of uncertainty in that area. I think the Chinese demand is a big uncertainty, at least Chinese demand for LNG, because Chinese demand itself is going to shoot through the roof compared to where it is at the moment. But how much of that can be satisfied by its own production, imports by pipeline, and therefore how much is needed by LNG is a key question. The Japanese demand and Southeast Asian demand, that's I can see fairly stable. Certainly within Japan, they've reached a critical point now where everything's being run on gas and oil. Maybe a few more CCGTs will be built in Japan, but certainly the growth in Southeast Europe, population, GDP growth in that area, is certainly going to see some major increases in demand, where LNG is going to be a key factor in satisfying that.
Sure. And what's the situation like in Europe? I know we've seen a few changes recently, and demand has been down, and then there's been Europe developing as a trading hub, re-exporting LNG. So how's that development going to go?
Okay. Europe, as you said, we've seen a drop-off in gas demand. A lot of that is to do with the coal being much cheaper than gas to produce power at the moment. Going forwards, a lot of the coal-fired power stations are going to be closing, a lot of nuclear are going to be closing by 2022, something like that. And so in the next decade, we see another growth of CCGT build in Europe, not necessarily in the countries that have a lot of CCGTs now, so UK, Spain, Italy. They're going to be fairly stable, maybe declining with energy efficiency, but places that don't have much CCGT, such as Germany, France maybe, those are the places where we're going to see some growth, and of course Eastern Europe as well.
And lastly, Andrew, we hear a lot about shale gas and the shale gas revolution, and the US is now moving towards becoming an exporter, even though, as we've talked about, there are concerns there. Are there any other countries that could possibly get to that position, providing new cargoes for ships to be exported around the globe?
I guess Australia is one of those places where it's unconventional gas rather than particularly shale gas where they're going to be exporting it. But otherwise, the developments of shale gas we see being much smaller than in the US, and therefore the places where they have it will be more or less lower than their existing demand, and therefore it won't actually displace all of their imports in the other places around the world. So certainly in Europe, for example, there aren't any countries that we see that would become an exporter of shale gas produced within those countries.
Sure. Thank you, Andrew.
Okay, thank you.